Town Square Media Station. WTUG HD2 Northport. And W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9. And streaming on the Tide 100.9 WTUG HD2 Northport. And W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9. And streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. A Town Square Media Station.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take it. biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. The Martin Houston Show is also being broadcast live on social media, on the radio network, online. You can follow us at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter, YouTube, and The Martin Houston on Facebook. We're live, local, and ready to get things going. Want to invite you to get in on the conversation. 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. Want to ask you a question. Did you get to catch the big game last night? Alabama survives and Brandon Miller shines. Yesterday, it was an interesting day yesterday. Showed that a lot of people were expecting a whole lot of talk around the Brandon Miller show and kept asking me, hey, what'd your show talk about? We didn't talk a whole lot about the Brandon Miller scenario because there was more to be heard. Hopefully you got enough yesterday that you now know and understand more about what's happening in that scenario, in that situation. A lot of media people need to eat some crow. Doesn't mean that more stuff doesn't come out, but from what's really been documented and covered at this point, Brandon Miller cleared of all charges at this point, or not being charged at any point at this point. And shame for all of those who just jump to conclusions, and we're all guilty of it at times in different ways. So the days of searching a source and being more patient are gone out the window, because we can pop up a story, pop up an ad, roll out with just about anything at any moment, at any time. Despite all of that, Bama Hoops took care of business on yesterday. So we will see how that goes in terms of the scenario and situation with Alabama basketball. So as we continue to move forward, I want to invite you to be a part of the conversation. Once again, 205-342-9904. We'll also talk a little true false. Time permitting, we'll also have Hank South 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. We'll have all of that as a part of the conversation this morning. So welcome back in. to another day, another dollar, maybe a dollar. Uh, let's bring in X. X, how you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Just glad to have everything rolling and operating. Big game last night. But before we get into that, I'd be remiss if I didn't do it. Remind you that this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. But Bama Hoops taking care of business last night without, um, well, I was going to say without a doubt. Actually, there was a whole lot of doubt. But Brandon Miller definitely not distracted. And I actually saw several people, making some statements that he would have like the game of his career. And he responded. Brandon Miller last night having a career high game, scoring more than half of Bama's points, getting into the 40s for the first time in his career. What were your overall thoughts of the game?
Man, yeah, just from the standpoint of the game, it was a dogfight from the beginning. Alabama pulled out, but to the early, but South Carolina stayed true to it, got it tied up, kept it, got the lead, and and going down the stretch, you just really didn't know what was going to happen. But then you turn around and you look at what Brandon Miller was able to do, career high 41 points. Saw several people saying, hey, man, he's going to go off of 40. And to have the game tying shot at the end of regulation and then the game winning shot in overtime to get him to 41, score, as you said, score more than half of the team's points. With all of the distractions, with all of the pressure and the weight of the world on his shoulders after the previous 24 to 36 hours, you just got to commend the young man for being able to come out and play as hard as he did.
Yeah, with all this going on, now that there's been a little bit more news, I'd like to hear from the callers and the listeners of what they're thinking now, because as I said on yesterday X, a lot of people were giving opinions about Brandon and what should happen, and shame on this group and shame on that group. And some people may still feel the same way in terms of what they wrote, and they may stand by their articles and their posts and their tweets, etc. But if you're out there listening today, I would love to hear from you. And so my first true false, I guess, is should Brandon Miller have suffered consequences from his actions on the night of, I think it was January 15th? Should Brandon Miller have been punished, held out, suspended, or whatever? Or let me ask you a different way. Nate Oates, University of Alabama, handled this situation correctly up until this point. True or false? True or false? If you
I'm
have
gonna
an
have to say true, because from what it sounds like, they made decisions based off of the information that the police gathered. I mean, he wasn't charged with anything, and as much as people gave Nate Oates a lot of flack for saying wrong place, wrong time, with the more information that has come out, that's what it was. You're talking about a situation where they were together, and then all of a sudden Brandon leaves, comes back to pick him up because he was his ride, and an altercation had taken place that Brandon didn't know much about. And unfortunately, it was wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, and some people say, "Hey, he shouldn't have a wrong." I mean, that Nate's words, wrong place, wrong time, were the wrong words. But based off of the information, and remember how long Nate had this information. With Nate, Coach Oates have probably said something different the day after. Possibly, don't know. But being at the point when he actually gave the information on Tuesday at his press conference, um, did he was that completely out of line? Joe, true, false? Did Alabama, University of Alabama, Nate Oates, and others, as of today, I didn't really ask you your opinion on it yesterday because we didn't dig into it. True, false? That Alabama basketball handled this correctly?
Oh, I'll say somewhere in the right. Oh, I don't like to be offensive. True, true to except for Tuesday. No, was it Monday?
Monday or Tuesday?
Tuesday.
President's Day, having a day off Monday kind of has thrown my whole week off. So
I think it was Monday where they had the press conference and he said, yeah, no, it was yesterday. It was Tuesday. It was Tuesday because prior to the game. So I think the athletic department and the PR for Tuesday probably did a poor job in controlling the messaging, not in the actions that they took with Brandon or the actions that they took with the rest of the team and kind of around with the law enforcement, but on Tuesday, I think that they had a lot of this information already, and they should have either prepped coach a bit better for his press conference or controlled the questions a bit better. So I think their actions have been, yes, true, handled correctly, but the PR on Tuesday was kind of fumbled a bit.
yeah, and I think the reason you're saying that is Nate Oates answered the question based off of information he had that no one else was privy to, while all this other information was rolling.
Exactly.
Uh, and so if everybody else had the same information that he had, and he makes that comment, it's probably not as big a deal. The other side of it is that there was a loss of life that he did not cause, was not invented. And so when you look at it, he really had an opportunity to do it. And I mean, they could have done some things to mitigate um, the speculation. In today's culture, because people can speculate and write stories and do things, if you have more information, like yesterday, I did not say anything, Joe, because it hadn't all the way came out. But I tried to couch my responses by saying, "Hey, there may be more to the story. Be careful of condemning." So Alabama basketball could have done that as well. So I agree with you on that. Curtis Lewis said, "My opinion hasn't changed. He's got to make better decisions. He shouldn't be punished because he did nothing wrong legally." Tell me what decision Brandon Miller should have made differently, Curtis. And I'm not disagreeing with you, but how does Brandon make a different decision, guys? I agree. We all need to make better decisions. But in this scenario, tell me, based on what Brandon knew, not what we know now, not now that we know that Brandon is driving into a explosive situation. What did Brandon know when he drove up at that time? Was Brandon simply going to pick up his friend who had rode with him from somewhere else? Um, and it says not take the gun. Well, maybe not. I mean, I listen. I'm for people having guns and gun rights and all of those things. So I don't have a problem with you know Darius owning a gun legally and all of that. So, but if someone asks you for their property and you don't know anything is going on, what's your response? X. What's your response, Joe? You guys go, and then we'll get to.
I mean, it's a tough situation because from the way that it was communicated or the way that it's been explained, Brandon wasn't even sure that the weapon was in the vehicle.
Right.
It was something Darius had brought with him when they got in the car. When they got ready to head to the club, he takes it and hides it up under clothes. So Brandon never saw it.
Right. That's what the report says. He never saw it, never handled it, and whatever. But the text, from my understanding, the text did say, "Hey, bring me my gun." But he
But
was on his way there, huh?
yeah, no, saying the way I read that text message, if Brandon doesn't know 100% that the weapon that is in the car, that could just be saying, "Hey, man, I don't feel safe." It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard
And like I
situation.
said, I'm not agreeing, disagreeing. I'm just saying that sometimes what we know now makes the text so much more ominous. Now, I'm personally, if someone asked me to bring a gun, I'm gonna probably say, "Hey, man, what you need a gun for?" You're right. So I may make it a different decision, but we also are now, when we start saying
Hindsight
make
is 2020.
yeah, making, or as Pat Dye said, hindsight's 50-50. But anyway, Joe, any thoughts, comments on that, on how he, in that moment, trying to put yourself back there, um, does he have the same level of opportunity to make a better decision that we have today?
I think that I think Xavier hit a lot of the good points. I think that based off the information that we were given from the attorney's statement and based off Brandon not being charged, the fact that you gotta believe what the attorney said. I mean, obviously, you probably see. This is just me. When you're going out, you probably look at your buddy, or I look at my buddy. Is it down in Tuscaloosa? I probably say, "Hey, man, why do we need a gun to go down to downtown?"
Yeah.
I don't have the same experiences that Darius Miles and that Brandon have, especially around firearms. I don't know what their experiences are,
Right.
so I can't say. And my experience with firearms is like little to none.
Yeah.
So really, I I think a lot of people just try to jump to conclusions and try to get a takeoff real quick this week.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Like I said, I'm not disagreeing with Curtis. I'm just asking the question. I think all of them and us probably need to make better decisions at different moments and different times. Um, and like I said, you know, and Curtis said no weapons in my vehicle. Period. And that that's a great rule. And I don't know, based on what it said, that he actually knew it was in his car until after the fact, and that's what makes this. I think that's what probably completely removes Brandon from the situation, is that he was asked to come pick him up or come meet him or whatever. But at the moment, he was on his way. From my understanding, he's on his way to pick him up, then a text. And like I said, I don't know, so I'm not gonna make a definitive statement one way or the other. All I know is that he's now, as of today, not charged. More information has come out, and come back on the other side. um, you know, and you have to deal with it. Last night I talked to the youth about accountability, and accountability is the your you being able to live up to an expected action or behavior, and that you are responsible or accountable for yourself, but you can also be accountable to your friends and your families, and those you hang around, because we're labeled by association, and association brings about participation. And I was able to use this story of, even though Brandon Miller had information come out later, man, this dude was ran through the mud yesterday. There was people who love Brandon Miller, but who were like hard and saying he should be punished and he should be off the team, and all of it is just because of his association with someone. So if you're out there listening, be wise, and start thinking about it at 15 and 16 and 13 and 14, and not when you're 35 and 40, because This young man is literally seconds, milliseconds, inches, centimeters from possibly not even being here with us. Because the fact that if 2 bullets hit his car, they could have hit him. And that's the sad part of this whole story. And it's another sidebar. I'm not going to get into it. But what happens on that strip and what happens in Tuscaloosa, and what happens in Tuscaloosa and around this city with guns and violence and all that stuff, man, they just, you need to start thinking more, because all of this greatness he talked about could have been gone in that one decision, right, wrong, or, indifferent. So I'm glad it didn't turn out that way for him. And unfortunately, I'm saddened that it turned out that way for the young lady in that family and her son. And we will continue the conversation. We can talk more hoops. We can talk football. We can talk whatever you got on your mind. I do want to circle back to that game, because unbelievable performance by Mr. Brandon Miller. Alabama gets the win in overtime. We'll talk more right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Traffic looking pretty good on this Thursday morning. Now, if you do see conditions folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. Get the deal of a lifetime now at Townsend Nissan, $2,000 off selected models, interest rates as low as 0%, and great selection. I'm Captain Ray.
When you or your family is in a car accident and injured, I've experienced it firsthand, and I highly recommend Stephen Mesrano, Mesrano Law. Call now, 205-800-8000, 205-800-8000.
Hey, it's Chris Stewart inviting you to pick out your new Honda from Townsend Honda. Come pick out a new Accord. We have 20 new Honda Accords in stock. At Townsend Honda, we have the most popular options to choose from. Plus, shop the best selection of pre-owned vehicles backed by the best certified warranty in West Alabama. And make no payments to 90 days. Hurry, Townsend Honda, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa, where every new Honda comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Most vehicles covered in the Honda and Townsend supply pre-owned warranty, excluding European luxury. Financing based on lender approval. See dealer for details.
Still overpaying for a razor? In this economy? Gross. At Dollar Shave Club, you can get a top shelf shave at a regular shelf price. We've been hawking shaving products for years online, and we're excited to bring you the same great quality and low prices at a store near you. From high-quality stainless steel blades to super smooth shave creams, Dollar Shave Club's in the business of making your shave easier. Find Dollar Shave Club in the men's razor aisle. Getting your Dollar Shave Club razor wherever you want. Isn't that great?
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Another day of record warmth. A mixture of clouds and sunshine today. A small chance of a shower through tonight. A high today 83. Tonight's low 55. Cooler tomorrow. Mostly cloudy with a chance of a few scattered showers. The high at 65. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 70 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Softmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. We definitely got some football conversation to get to regarding this Alabama coaching staff and others around the SEC in terms of coaching staff. So we'll get to that conversation in just a moment. But I do want to give you guys a chance to just talk about Brandon Miller and just a couple of plays he made. One of the most impressive plays that he made was maybe third quarter, the early part of the second half, or late in the first, where he went in and he just finished with a two-hand dunk where he bodied the guy and finished strong. One of the strongest moves I've seen from Miller all year. Were you able to watch the game, X? Did you see that play?
I got to watch the entire game, and man, that dunk was one of the most ferocious dunks I think I've ever seen from a college player, and it was a tone shifter.
Yeah, and that, they were struggling. I think everybody struggled just about all night, but Miller, and he showed a lot of his mettle down the stretch. And then the two, I think he finished with 3 left-handed drives and finished at the rim. But the tying and the winning, both of those were Joe big time plays by Brandon Miller, barring something crazy. How much did how much did he do last night to potentially put himself as the lead candidate for the Naismith Award, but also in that top slot?
I think he took a strong step. There's a lot of other great candidates for that. I think I think probably public perception is going to give it to Zach Edey from Purdue, but golly, two plays at the end of regulation and overtime, both kind of the same action, kissing it off the glass way up high. He was a special player last night.
Yeah, and you like you say Edey is probably going to get it because that's where the media has talked about the most, and he was kind of a returning guy, but his versatility and skill set, and everybody in that building and everybody, Joe, out there knew that he was going to get that, and he still finished at the rim. I was more impressed. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, you just look at the fact that of everything that happened last night and the way he was able to finish in overtime and at the end of regulation, man, you don't see stuff like that. And there's a couple guys that are playing overseas right now and things like that that'll probably go before him. The unicorn, Victor Wembanyama, and another guy, I can't remember his name. But as far as college players, he's the best in the country.
He's impressive. I like watching him play, and I know I'm a little biased, but hey, George from Macon, you've been patient and holding. What's on your mind, sir? You're in with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One Hotline.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. Just a few quick comments. On Brandon and the feeling and tragedy. Basically they know exactly what they know now as they did 1 or 2 days after it happened. They have film, they've got dash cams, they got all kinds of witnesses, and everything that they knew then still holds true now. So I don't know. Well, I know why the outcry is to try to sit on Brandon because of the optics. And I think nothing will ever, be enough because of that tragedy. But to sit there and on TV, you hear all the pundits and Dickie Vitale, and he needs to go ahead and retire. I mean, his act is getting a little bit old. They don't know, even though the facts were out and all you had to do is read some articles and do a little investigation, and you knew exactly what everybody else knew. They still didn't do that, or they refused to read the facts, and all they were wanting to do was someone was going to have to pay, and they wanted the big star to pay. Even though, in my mind, and I've read all the articles, I've been listening to everybody. Brandon didn't know he had the gun. He was oblivious as to what was going on, but still, they want him to pay. And, that type of optics is not good either. And that's kind of my comments. And to get into the football part of it, I was totally surprised when our inside linebacker coach is now the DC of Florida. And do you think that there's some undercurrent and some other moves going on right there, Martin?
I do. We're not going to get into it. We're not going to be able to get into it right now, George. But we'll start. We'll get to some recruiting here in just a minute, and then we'll wrap the show up, and we'll definitely talk about it on tomorrow. But yes, I do think there's some potential moves going on there in terms of what's going to happen and how Saban back feels.
Oh, Martin, let me make one more comment. When is ESPN going to get the times right so we get to see the whole game?
How was it church when it tipped off? So did they start off wrong time yesterday?
Yeah, we missed about the first 8 minutes. Again, the first game, went in overtime just like it has the last two games. And I mean, it gives me the opportunity to listen to it live radio on 100.9, thank goodness. But I mean, the last 2 or 3 games that we played, the 9 o'clock game or the second game, we have missed probably about a third of the first half. I mean,
wow.
It's incredible.
Yeah, anytime they play on Wednesday, I missed the first part of the game, so I only got about half of the first half anyway. But because of church. But anyway, hey, thanks, George. Maybe they'll figure it out, or I guess we all have to get extra channels, and that may be part of the routine as well.
You got that.
Thanks,
Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks. Coming back on the other side, we'll have Hank South, 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting Guru, up next.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Traffic looking pretty good on this Thursday morning. Now, if you do see conditions folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. Get the deal of a lifetime now at Townsend Nissan, $2,000 off selected models, interest rates as low as 0%, and great selection. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Breaking news.
Tax refund shock is everywhere, but what is it?
My tax refund shrank.
Mine too. The culprit? Pandemic-related stimulus payments and tax credits expiring. In this reporter's opinion, you need a tax expert.
Hey guys, Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest refund.
And tax prep is 50% off? Going there now.
50% off is a limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
The new Crispy Melt Taco is now at Taco Bell. Some facts about it are: 1, its shell is freshly fried daily. 2, it has a melty cheesy blend inside. And 3, it comes with seasoned beef or black beans. And totally feel free to drop those Crispy Melt Taco facts whenever you want too. Like maybe save them for when a friend's like, "What should we eat?" And you say, "Crispy Melt Tacos," and they're like, "Nah," and then you need to make an airtight case for why they're wrong.
The new Crispy Melt Taco. Try one today, only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell locations for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local store for prices, hours, and participation which vary.
Introducing Total by Verizon, a new prepaid wireless provider with no contract plans starting at just $30 a month. With Total by Verizon, you don't have to sacrifice reliability or freedom. Get Total by Verizon and save money every month on America's most reliable 5G network. Most reliable 5G based on most first place rankings and Root Metrics first half 2022 assessments of 125 metros. Experiences vary, not an endorsement.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, brought to you by MaX Sports. As we get ready to kick off this second half, we are joined by Hank South at 247 Sports and Bama Online Recruiting to give us some updates in the recruiting world. Joining us on the Alabama One hotline. How you doing this morning, Hank?
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm good. How are y'all?
Doing good, doing good. So, Hank, there's been some news going around about some guys releasing their top fives, top tens. Who are some of these guys, and where does Alabama stand with them?
Yeah, there's several of them. I think one notable one I actually saw yesterday was Daniel Hill, who came out and said he doesn't have a top 10 anymore. But it's funny right now because, like, all these kids, they're announcing top schools, they're narrowing lists. They're top 5, top 10s, top 8. But it doesn't really matter at this point. There's kids, that sorry, my alarm's going off. There's kids, they'll put out top 6 right now that don't have Bama in it, and then in 4 months when Bama offers them, they'll be in it. So I mean, I've seen like I said, Daniel Hill, who put out top 10, he backed off that stance last night. He said he's open. Aaron Butler, a 4-star wide receiver, he actually put out a top 5 last night from California. Calabasas, California, has Alabama in his top 5. And he's actually moving up his commitment date, so that's actually pretty notable. So he's going to be announcing his decision relatively soon, but he's really close with Holman Wiggins, Nick Saban. He has Bama, Colorado, Georgia, Oregon, and Washington in his top group. So there's a handful of guys, I think, as spring comes along and kids start actually taking more visits and start taking official visits, I think we'll see, more narrowed lists, probably top 3s, top 5s, and maybe commitment dates. But right now it's kind of just a lot of lists that don't mean a lot.
Yeah, and when is the time frame that guys can start taking their visits again?
So unofficial visits can start again on March 1st. So February, the entire month of February is a dead period, which doesn't mean, coaches can't recruit. They can still talk on the phone, text, DM, all that kind of stuff. They just can't see each other in person. But starting March 1st, kids can go back on visits. There's going to be a junior day at Bama on March 4th. That's going to have, handful of guys, or, more than a handful, probably a pretty good turnout for Alabama. So that'll start then. Then starting April 1st, official visits can start for kids that are for juniors in high school. So guys, 2024 recruits. So they can start taking official visits. They can do that all the way up until the end of June. And then it goes dead again from July. For mostly July and August is all dead. And then official visits can start again in September. So, pretty much starting March is when visits really start to ramp back up. You'll see visitors weekends. You'll see kids out for spring practice. Then obviously, some kids take visits in the spring. You see a couple of those. We'll see a lot of official visits in the summer. But at this point, it's dead right now. But a couple of weeks, it'll start back up.
Awesome. And we have a listener, Jed Cohen, that was asking if there were any players that Austin Armstrong was recruiting, or was it really too early for him to get out on the road or make any headway as recruiting with this being the dead period?
Yeah, so he was on the road for a couple weeks at the end of January. Obviously he took over, and he was recruiting the state of Louisiana, parts of Mississippi, a little bit of in-state. But with there was a couple visitors weekends. He was face to face with kids, but I really do think it was it's pretty early. A lot of these kids knew him from Southern Miss, so it wasn't like this guy they just knew, got to know, then he left. They'd already known him. So I know Sterling Dixon, the Bama commit, talked about him. I don't think that's gonna. Bottom line is he wasn't there long enough to, I think, make lasting impressions on guys in terms of them picking Bama, them being committed to Bama, or anything like that. The kids really liked him, for good reason, but I don't think it was. It's going to be a huge deal in terms of negatively impacting recruiting.
Okay, and we have Pat joining us on the Alabama One hotline. Pat, you're in with Hank South at 247 Sports and Bama Online Recruiting.
Good morning, fellas. I got two receiver questions this morning. One, is Bama going to be able to hold on to Perry Thompson, who I think could possibly be Julio-esque? And also, what about this Whitted kid? I think his name is Whitted. I guess I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably not. Probably butchering it. Out of Macadory, a 6'6", 220-pound tight end that has a tremendous amount of potential to grow. I'm getting thicker.
Yeah, Whitted. Bama offered him about a month and a half ago. I think right before that junior day the first junior day in January. He's pretty quiet, but has a pretty impressive offer list growing. Obviously, Bama's in the mix. Auburn. Mississippi State, Michigan State, a handful of others. But yeah, massive kid that has a frame, solid frame. We need to get some more verified results on him. But he's listed at 6'5.5", 253, and then there's another listing of him at 6'7", 220. So hopefully, we'll see him here in a couple of weeks this spring at some of these regional camps. But no, I think he's a really interesting prospect. One of those jumbo kind of athletes that definitely brings a lot to the table. I would imagine Bama's on his short list with Auburn and the in-state schools and probably some of the other SEC programs. But in terms of where he stands, like I said, he's quiet, so I'm not totally sure on that yet. But we'll hopefully catch up with him this spring. Perry Thompson, looking at it now, I do think Bama will hold on to him. He's obviously he's going to take visits. I would expect he's going to take several official visits. He's going to check out Georgia. He's going to check out Tennessee. He actually said he was a Georgia fan growing up. This was back when he committed to Bama. He was a Georgia fan, but picked Bama for his commitment. But yeah, he's already taking a visit to Auburn this month or back in January. I know he's going to go to Tennessee. So he's still going to take visits. People are still going to press for him, but every time you talk to him, he reaffirms his commitment to Alabama. He's happy with that decision. He's helping recruit others to join him. So it's definitely going to be a situation where Bama is going to have to keep recruiting him like he's uncommitted, and I think they treat most of their commitments like that. They kind of just keep their foot on the gas.
Okay. Do you see him with your review of his film and things? Do you see him as being another potential Julio?
Yeah, I think I was tweeting the other day. He had a highlight. He already broke Julio's single season reception record at Foley, and obviously coming from Foley, the similarities are obviously going to be there. But it's hard to put that. I don't want to put that kind of pressure on a kid. But no, he's I think he's a 5-star talent. Absolutely. He does everything really well. His film is pretty incredible. So. I think there's a lot of high expectations for him for sure.
Martin X, thanks for the time. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks, Pat.
You too, Pat. You have a good one. Remember, you're on with Hank South at 247 Sports and Bama Recruiting. You can get on the conversation on the Alabama One hotline, 205-342-9904. Hank, with a quick switch over to basketball, I did not catch his name, but I saw that there was a young man in the 2024 class that just came on an official visit to Alabama. Where is Alabama standing with him?
Did we lose?
Hey,
Did we lose Hank?
Let me check on that. I don't think so, but let me check on that.
Hey, go ahead. This young man you were talking about, you know, have any details on him while we're waiting on Hank, or it's just where you saw Alabama had an official visit?
I saw that Alabama had an official visit. I missed his name, and I just saw the article pop up, and that's why I was asking about him. But I mean,
He's
when
right
you're
back with you
looking
at
at what
X.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Joe. What did you say?
Hank's right back with you if you want to ask him about this basketball prospect who came on an official visit.
Yeah, Hank, there was a basketball prospect. I missed his name, part of the 2024 class that just came on an official visit. Where does Alabama stand with him?
Yeah, sorry about that. My phone was being weird. Yeah, Jesse McCullough, 2024 center power forward center from Cleveland. He took an official visit on just this past weekend for the Georgia game. He has not. He posted some photos from the trip, but you know he hasn't done an interview yet. So we're still working on him. He's been on my list all week, trying to get a hold of. Contacted his coach as well, trying to get him on the phone, but seems to be he's pretty quiet. But visit looks like when I talked to a couple people that were around him, you know, I don't think it went bad. You know, it sounds everyone sounds like it went like he had a good time. Obviously, Bama had that huge win over Georgia. So, you know, we'll see. But 2024 recruit, so obviously still some time to go. But it sounds like Bama left a really good impression. I think Indiana's in on him. There's a handful of big time schools in on him. So, you know, we'll see. But Jesse McCullough, name to remember in terms of 2024 prospects Bama's going after.
Awesome. Well, Hank, I appreciate you joining us again every week. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. BamaOnline.com, and then my Twitter handle is @HankSouth247.
All right, that is Hank South of 47 Sports and Bama Online Recruit joining us again. We will have him back next week. And as we get ready to go into the fourth quarter, we will be talking about all-season changes in the preseason or pre-spring depth chart, and we'll talk about that on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Traffic looking pretty good on this Thursday morning. Now, if you do see conditions folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. Get the deal of a lifetime now at Townsend Nissan, $2,000 off selected models, interest rates as low as 0%, and great selection. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Live from the Town Square Media Newsroom, my name is Mary Kay. And following the preliminary hearing in the capital murder case against Darius Miles and Michael Davis, it was released that the bond denied to both Miles and Davis. And Alabama men's basketball coach Nate Oates has released a statement concerning the comments he made discussing Brandon Miller's connection to a fatal shooting case. And the Alabama men's golf team finished 4th overall in the Watersound Invitational, with key players finishing inside the top 10 individuals.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a customized stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FUN for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FUN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FUN for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill up.
Haven't heard from us lately? It's probably time to update your Tide 100.9 app. You may need to go into your phone's app store and run an update, or even reinstall the app.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports. We're going to have a free-for-all Friday on tomorrow, and one of the things that we're going to throw into that free-for-all Friday is there's actually a professional women's football league that's kicking off. There's several teams around and one in Atlanta. Full-fledged, full pads, the whole nine. And the quarterback, one of the quarterbacks on this team is from Tuscaloosa. And so on tomorrow, we'll have Madison Frazier, QB of the Atlanta Rage, the head coach, Coach Milton, and their general manager may try to jump on with us. And listen, it's the off season, and it's a great opportunity for us to highlight some different things out there, different topics. And it's a free-for-all Friday, so make sure you tune in tomorrow to join that conversation. We're looking forward to chatting with them. It's supposed to be legit football, is what I was told. So we'll talk about it as another option for off-season viewing pleasure. WFL or whatever. I think that WFL, LFL. I'll get all that information to you as we bring them on tomorrow to find out a little bit more about them. What we want to go ahead and tease with you also is Kirby Smart. We'll get to the spring. We got plenty of time to get to spring charts and all that. Saban is having some coaching changes. Has had a lot of coaching changes. But X, looks like Kirby is getting a little bit of the Bama effect over there. His offensive coordinator gone, his quarterback gone, and now rumors of his young, up-and-coming superstar co-defensive coordinator on the short list to the Philadelphia Eagles. How big of a blow would Schumann to the Eagles be for Kirby Smart at this point in the season?
Go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
All right, I got disconnected.
Did you hear what the question was? How big a deal?
How disappointing or how big of an impact would it be for Glenn Schumann to leave Georgia and go to the Philadelphia Eagles?
Oh man, I think it'll be interesting to see, because Schumann, is the young big name in college football, and see him leave to go to the NFL would not only be a big loss for Georgia, but it's just a big loss for college football in general, because normally you don't see too many guys bounce back and forth between the NFL and college. That's far and few in between. So if he's going to the NFL, that might be the end of his college days.
Well, it's hard to get those NFL guys to come back to college traditionally, but that's starting to happen a little bit more now that the money in college is starting to creep up there. And when you got guys like Mel Tucker making $9 million and Jimbo Fisher making $9 million and winning 6-7 games a year, you can kind of do it. I think the biggest blow to Georgia, Joe, would be the recruiting loss. I think because he's a co-defense coordinator and Muschamp is there, I think their defense will operate similar to what it's always operated. But I think Schumann's loss on the recruiting trail would be huge. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think he's a young up and coming coach, and he's been a great recruiter for Georgia for the last handful of years. Losing him would definitely put a hole in their program.
And so, with that thought, X, do you bump up Saban's grade a little bit more? It's kind of crazy. Saban, the whole process of not Joe, but Schumann heading out, Monk heading out, and Alabama getting guys. Has Saban closed the gap a little bit more on Georgia? Has it been a good offseason for Alabama?
You have to say yes.
Yeah, spring ball is just around the corner. Alabama still has a coaching position open. How does Saban fill that position? We'll start the conversation off with that on tomorrow. But we'll also, as I said, we'll bring in Madison Frazier, quarterback of the Atlanta Rage, Professional Women's Football League, kicking off its inaugural season. And on a free-for-all Friday, we'll talk about that. Hey, if you got something you'd like for us to bring into the conversation, give us a call at 205-342-9904. You can also post on Facebook on any of the shows. You can follow us on Twitter at MartinHouston35. And you can let us know, hey, man, talk about this. What about this? Ask us those questions. It's the Sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. That's the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports. We do it every Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 a.m. right here on Tide 100.9. Kudos to Bama for a big win. Kudos to Brandon Miller for showing resilience and having a career night, leading the Tide into just another step closer to being SEC regular season champs and doing something special and elite on the capstone. For Xavier Houston, for Martin Houston, for Joe Gaither, for this show, for all of the fans and friends and family out there, we say roll Tide. And remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide out there, everybody, and have a blessed day.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Traffic looking pretty good on this Thursday morning. Now, if you do see conditions folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. Get the deal of a lifetime now at Townsend Nissan, $2,000 off selected models, interest rates as low as 0%, and great selection. I'm Captain Ray.